my fellow board members. And here our agenda is it's very short. And I would like to first of all welcome all of you. I see Director Ellison. I also see Director Serio. Before we go to the main item of the agenda, as a board chair, as a chair of, I'm sorry, board chair is
Would you like to be board chair? Yes.
As a chair of ELL Caucus, tonight, I would like to nominate my fellow board member, Director Andriana Sirio, to be the new chair of the ELL Caucus. And I have talked to her. I believe in her leadership, her experience, and the passion she has for all students that attend Minneapolis public schools. And I have been a ELL Caucus chair for a while now. And I do believe that it's about the time that we have to have a new leader. So I think here, what I need now, three of us are here, and I want to get I nominated. So in other words, I want the Chair Ellison to second me, and then we move forward for the second item of the agenda.
A second. I second.
Thank you. And as of now, and then let us vote for it. And I'm not good for parliamentarian procedures, but those of you who support Director Sirio to be the new chair of the ELL Caucus, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do I get to vote too?
Yes, you do. And those of you who oppose, say nay. And I believe three of us. So you have been elected to be the chair of ELL Caucus. And we wish you good luck, Director Sirio. And we will work with you. We are here. You will lead us. And hopefully you will set the agenda for our next meeting.
Thank you, Director Allen.
Normally what we do is that we meet every other month. We used to meet every other month before COVID-19. That situation has been really interrupted by this pandemic. But hopefully now things getting normal. We would like to continue meeting every other month so that we can continue to do our work. The second item of the agenda, I see Director Ince join us. Welcome.
Sorry, I was late. I thought the meeting was tomorrow.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank
a
you,
lot
Ron,
of things
for the
going on.
reminder.
A lot of things going on, and I understand that how busy all of us we are. If I give you update what we have done past few minutes, I nominated Director Sirio to be the new chair of the ELL Caucus. And my colleague, Madam Chair Kim Ellison, and Director Andriana Sirio also agree with me. So officially, Director Sirio will be the next chair, or from now, the chair of ELL Caucus. So what we are here to discuss tonight is that the state of affairs of ELL students. And this is the discussion that we are going to have. As you know, Minneapolis students, we care the well-being of all students that attend Minneapolis public schools. We also recognize the challenges that faced by the ELL students. And the student that attends, the ELL student that attend Minneapolis public schools is very significant. In other words, to be honest with you, that almost 30%, you can say that, close to 30% of students that attend Minneapolis public schools are ELL students with different background, different challenges. Many of these children, they are born here, but they are children of immigrants. That's how I see that. And to be honest with you, that package of being new to the country is still puts you in a lot of obstacles way. As you know also that our state is not funding fully ELL students. That's another big challenge. And we talked about this before. We have a teacher governor in Minneapolis, in the state of Minnesota. We have a lot of great leaders, representatives, and senators who always say that they are supporting public schools, they support ELL students, but I think it's about the time that they have to deliver it. And now, as you know, that there's a big conversation going on. The entire nation is discussing about equity and how they can stop and change this discriminations and so on. So it's about the time that we have to meet the needs of our students, all students. Tonight we're talking about ELL students. So I would like to ask you, how do you think, how best we can advocate for Minneapolis public schools to get more funding from our state of Minnesota? And especially, we need to get more funding for the ELL and students with the disability or special education. In other words, these two areas is the area where are not fully funded by the state. And it's about the time. And I remember that Director Ince, you spoke about this passionately. And you have also some ideas and some strategies where we go from here. So I want you now, the mic's yours, and whoever would like to speak, you can speak, and then from there we go.
Okay, are you inviting me? Was it me you were inviting to speak, Director Ali?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. You know, I had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with Congresswoman Omar about the issue of special education and EL funding from the state and federal government. And with respect to special education, there was we talked about a some proposed policy initiatives that are in the Congress right now, things that we need to see happen as well. And one of the things that she thought would be a good idea was, you know, around those policy initiatives to, and one of the struggles that I have had with this is it's not just about policy, right? It's about organizing and having a sustainable movement around these issues, rather than it just being like, oh, we have the majority in the legislature now, we need to do something. We needed to be doing something all along, and growing support in our communities. So she wanted to do you know, she used to do those coffee and cool-on things when she was in the legislature, and wanted to do something like that around special education and EL funding. So so that was pretty exciting. And I know we're moving forward. There is a bill in the Senate right now that has to do with special education funding, which is pretty ideal. It's about fully funding special education, and we're hoping to get her to lead that in the U.S. Congress. So that's one thing. And, continuing to build a statewide movement around these issues, and have it not just be a couple of board directors from Minneapolis talking about this at the legislature, but really having it be, people in other districts as well. We're not the only ones in the world that have EL students. So, trying to build a broader community and organize a broader movement around, special education, but EL issues as well. So, that's what I've been working on. I know that, I think that this would be a great forum for us to do a similar thing with respect to the EL funding at the state. We could use a kind of a similar model through our this group. I know that, we used to we almost had those quarterly meetings in the community when we started the EL Caucus. And I think that would be another angle, it's sort of a organizing, like a guidepost for organizing through quarterly meetings like that, or, biannual community meetings, whatever, we could muster. So that's what I think.
Thank you.
Director Cerrillo, I know, I would assume that you would appreciate the idea of it not being just about policy, but about organizing a movement as well. So.
May I have, since you mentioned Director Cirio, can you please talk about your ideas and your strategies? How can we advocate for our students, for our ELL students? Thank you.
Thank you, Director Ali. First of all, I'm honored and humbled to receive this nomination, and I need all the help to continue moving this forward because definitely this is a reality. We are so underfunded, and it just befuddles me how we can talk about equity when we don't have the money behind it. So this is really exciting in the sense of, as Director Eames mentioned, it takes community. It takes community. So many of our community to begin with does not know that we are so underfunded. And when I bring those numbers, they're just in shock. So we have an incredible city with incredible people. And I'm very hopeful and optimistic that together we're going to be able to bring the money that our children are being robbed. I mean, I have no other way to put it. This is their money. We're not asking for something that they don't deserve and have earned. So I'm looking forward to what we can do together. I'm open to the, to your guidance in the sense of what is it that we can do? If we are going to be asking for funding at the state level, how do we leverage our power to reach out to state legislatures and bring this issue, as a sense of urgency? A lot is happening, and we should take that opportunity to really influence our state and, to have them do what needs to be done. And then taking the opportunity in the summer as well to continue doing that community engagement, because it takes community, families and children as well to mobilize.
Thank you very much. Well said. And now, Madam Chair, Ellison.
No, I agree with everything that's been said so far. What we do know is that our Minneapolis delegation at the legislature, they already agree with us. And so it's going to require us to reach out to families and friends who live throughout the state to talk to their representatives as well. but, simple organizing, we can get this done. So, and I do like the coffee and Kulon idea with Representative Omar, the Director Inns mentioned, or even us doing it as part of our community meetings. So,
yeah, when we talk about, so there's a one other project that I'm trying to get going is a integration study group, and having that include members of the legislature, union members, and I've started to reach out to board members in neighboring districts as well. Regional integration efforts, and I think this can be a part of that also. Those relationships that I know, Director Ellison, I think you have pretty strong relationships with many other board members, MSBA members, and I think that working with some of those folks to help organize around some specific policy guideposts, is an angle for us to consider. It seems to me, and we talked about this a little bit recently, that some of the statewide school board stuff is not focused in the same way on our students and the needs of our students that we need to be focused on. And there are probably other boards in neighboring metro districts that also need to see more statewide focus on the needs of their students in particular. And, we need to build some sort of institutional power with those other board members to more effectively advocate for things like this as a coalition, as a block, through whatever institutional power we have right now at the state, but also just to be more organized around it. I think sometimes we spend so much time and effort just advocating for money at the Capitol, and we don't advocate for the type of money that we need. I'd like to see us be more focused on those sorts of things. So I don't know, Director Ellison, I know, some of the, there's almost caucuses within the MSBA, right, that could be focused on some of these things. I know that Chair Corman from Bloomington, who's a teacher in St. Louis Park as well, I've had conversations with her about some of this stuff as well. And I know there are other neighboring districts. There's a board member out in St. Cloud as well. Some other folks that I've talked to about this stuff. So I think that's a direction that we need to pursue.
That's a great idea. Directors Sabri from Mankato and Director Bassett from Robbinsdale started maybe 4 years ago under MSBA and Board Directors of Color group, and they meet pretty regularly, and it's statewide. And you're right, it's a lot of the districts have the same ELL concerns that we do, the special ed concerns that we do. And so it doesn't just need to be, we need to help Minneapolis, we need to help Minneapolis and St. Paul. It's like, no, this would benefit these groups of students throughout the state as well. So I like that idea. And they meet pretty regularly. And so I think the next time we meet, we're going to try to have a conversation with the Justice Page and amendment. But we can have a conversation about how we're serving ELL students statewide. How are we going to serve special ed students statewide, and have them talking within their communities as well about the need. So I like that idea.
Yeah, that's great. Really, you already done some significant work on this area, and I thank all of you. And so, what do you think about if we, a school, or in other words, ELL Caucus Committee, if we schedule a meeting with the Minneapolis delegations, and where we can brief, where they can hear from us, and then, we can have some friendly discussions and say, so that they can, we can empower one another and see how best we can also support them.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, this is their call. They are the state representatives and state senators, and they have to speak up. They have to really draft the legislation. They have to, and it would be a good idea if we schedule a time soon, especially soon, since the session is, I believe, it's about to start soon. The next, already is the session is on now? Yeah. So it will be wise if we schedule a time next couple of weeks, and then we can have some strategies. I also like the idea of Director Inns, where it's always good to build a coalition, so that we can reach out to other. There are a lot of small cities that you really think there's no much ELL students, but there are very significant number of ELL students. So I think it would be a good idea also if we build a coalition outside Minneapolis school district and reach out to other school districts, places maybe like Wilmar, Warlington, Owatonna, Faribault, all these places, they have state representatives. So they can also join us to be part of this.
I think our lobbyist, Josh Downham, could help us with, I think it was some of his conversations with outstate other lobbyists, state lobbyists that have helped bring the special ed awareness broader. So I think he could help us in this conversation as well.
That's great.
It seems like maybe we could have so we set a time for a meeting, a public forum, of the EL Caucus, the Minneapolis School Board, and we invite other folks for a public discussion about finance and policy as it relates to EL students in public schools. So something like that. And we say we're going to talk about the financial situation and the funding of EL students, and put some questions, we put some questions together for legislators to answer. We can use that as a organizing tool for folks to get behind and support different policy, whatever it is, the policy things that are, most pressing, I think, at the Capitol, and then the finance questions as well, right? As this is we probably want to do that within like a month or two, because, they're already talking about the budget, right? The education budget. So, I think that seems like a good course of action. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. So when do you think you guys we can have, what is the suitable time to have that meeting with the Minneapolis delegations?
Well, I don't know, maybe we put it to Josh, see what he thinks about how we can do that.
So maybe
is Ryan here?
I'm here, Director. Yes.
Do you have thoughts about that, or?
Yeah, I can work with Josh on trying to get some ideas scheduled. I agree with you that something in the near term, if you want to have an impact, because targets are being set and so forth. But I think we can set something up, and whomever can come is able to and get it going. So I can work with Josh.
We reach out to the other districts and the other representatives and the other board members, and say, this is about statewide funding for English language or English learners. And, we can lead on it, but, You know, it's certainly not just about us, right?
That's true. That's true. So maybe then we can let's put it this way. Maybe Ryan and Director Sirio as the new chair of the ELL caucus, and also Chash. 3 of you can coordinate maybe, and then you can let us know when it's going to be the meeting, and then where we go from there. I think that may be an ideal. So what do you
That
think,
would be
guys?
great.
Sounds great.
Yes, thank you, Director Ali. Yes, and I think this is a great beginning, because we need to, like, you know, take into consideration and the reality that this is not only the state, but also the federal level, you know, so it's, you know, asking, you know, all the levels of government, you know, for this funding. So this is a great start.
That's great.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you know, it's like, when we don't have the funding, you know, how does the funding affect the students' experience and learning? And then we start taking money out of the integration money and the general fund money, and we're all over the place. So if we are given this funding that is owed, then things will be differently, and then we can
you know,
be equitable.
it's amazing to me how, you know, people don't realize that it just impacts everybody. You know, it's not just about EL students, it's about the whole district and all the resources that we have that are there to support everyone, you know. And if we're underfunded in one particular area, it comes from everyone everywhere else, you know.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
You know, I think that's you know, it's true for special education, it's true for EL, especially, right? So
that's great. That's great. Any other suggestions, ideas? Any other input?
Yes, Director Ali, I would like to, like, and for all the, you know, Director Ince and Madam Chair Ellison, to start like extending our thinking into, like, you know, this is it about ELL funding. I understand, but it's like, I like the word better of multilingual, because I would like to, like, down the road, to really create a partnership and a closer relationship with our multilingual department, that they truly have all this information, you know, that we can have access to better understand how to not only leverage our power, but to take the right steps, you know, down the road. Because, like, for example, I just heard that in St. Cloud District, they're starting a Somali dual emerging program. So we are kind of behind in here, you know, in a lot of ways. So I just wanted to mention, you know, to build that relationship with our multilingual department.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm not sure if you have met them, Muhyiddin Warfa, the director of multilingual, executive director of multilingual department. But I will call him and I will talk to him and I will ask him to reach you and sit down with you and any other director. So that way you can get the information where we are from here, what's working, what's not working, how things moving forward for the new programs. I think what we did, something amazing work, was one of the ethnic studies that we approve. That's really something great. But also the Hmong and the Latino, I mean Spanish and the Somali language programs also something that, you know, you need to know what's going on as a new director and so on. So I will reach him out and ask him to reach you so you can, two of you, meet sometime soon. And if
Thank you, Director.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If there's no any other conversations, I think our meeting is very short. And then we will wait from the new director or the new chair of the ELL committee and Ryan to let us know when we're going to meet the delegation. And in the meanwhile, Director Sirio will meet the director of multilingual department and see how that Somali program so far, what's going on, where we are, and then from there we go. Madam Chair, will you like to say something?
Great meeting. Thank you so much.
Yeah, until then, I think we shall wait from Director Sirio, and we wish you good luck for our new chair, and I'm sure you will do great. So I thank you, all of you, and I wish you have a good night.
Thank you, Director Ali.
Thank you.